everybody, it's me, Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and I'm back again because, well, I went on a vacation to go to one of Noel's friends' weddings, and I assumed while I was gone there'd be all kinds of Amberlynn Reid content. Well, maybe not all kinds, but I figured there'd at least be one video posted while I was away, and it turns out that was not the case. Not the case at all. In fact, she posted yesterday, Monday. I got in yesterday. I got back into Chicago yesterday. We had a really early flight out in the morning, and it kind of fucked up my sleep schedule for the whole entire day. So I did stream briefly on Twitch, but outside of that, yesterday I was just like fully out of commission, so I didn't make any video, even though she did post this video that we're going to react to yesterday. I'm also going to leave some timestamps in case you want to skip ahead to the reaction part, although I think what we're going to talk about will probably be important for the reaction, so keep on listening if you're interested in like an update about the stuff with her mom and whatnot, because I think it probably will impact some of the things that I guess what I should say is I have a pretty big hunch that that the video we're going to react to is a Q&A, because she posted 3 different Instagram Q&A situation types of deals on her Instagram stories since my last video, and she didn't answer any of those questions on actual Instagram. And then I think it was the 3rd one that specifically was about, it had like the caption of it being specifically for a YouTube video. And because I know what is going on in her life right now on YouTube, I can't imagine that there aren't going to be questions about her mom. Like, that was the last video she posted, and then she hasn't posted anything since. So I'm sure if this is a Q&A that there's going to be questions about her mom. The one thing that I wanted to address is that I saw this through an Alex is Shook video. He also references, I think, Sam I don't know how to say Sam's last name. Sorry, that's not shade. I always pronounce it like the bag, like Telfar, but I think it's Teflur. Either way, I guess she was like calling around talking to courts or something, and then I found out about this through Alex's video. So I'll leave Alex's video linked. I don't know if he links to Sam's video or live stream. But go search them out if you want, like, the direct source, whoever, whatever. Anyways, he mentioned that the charge related to animals on Mamalynn'S record that people were pulling up and things like that is actually not supposed to be there, wasn't supposed to be there. It was, it sounds like it may be an error from the court's side, a typographical error or something like that. And so it sounds like that wasn't supposed to be there. I also want to clarify that, like, in the span of me posting my last video, going on vacation and stuff like that, at some point, I got an email from somebody who I saw with not enough time to also come here and make a video. But it was from a person who said that they're a licensed attorney and they had looked through Mamalynn'S records and stuff as well, and actually also pointed out to me in this email that the charge was removed if you go through and look through stuff, and that she never pled guilty to anything related to animal abuse and stuff like that. So, all of that to say, I also, outside of just being on a vacation, was not in a hurry to update or anything like that about these things, mostly because in my video I presented it as an alleged thing that Jordy read off. As you know from my last video, Amberlynn insisted that this had never happened, that Mamalynn had never shared anything about it. And yeah, so I was never automatically assuming it was true. I did share that it was an alleged charge because that was obviously an important part of what Amberlynn was upset about, and an important part, I think, about what a lot of folks were upset about when it came to Mamalynn. But I think what I really just want to reiterate when it comes to this stuff is that, well, one, it doesn't really change my opinions or feelings about the situation. I really stand by what I said in my video, which is that I want to live in a society, in a community, in a place where, like, we truly give people who have suffered from addiction and substance abuse the chance to rehabilitate their lives and move on and move forward. And that doesn't mean that everybody has to forgive them for their sins or for the things that they did while they were in addiction. But that I do believe that, like, at this point, Mama Lynn went to prison, and as far as we know, Mama Lynn is sober, you know? And I don't know, for me personally, I don't know what people really want from Amberlynn or Mama Lynn in this situation. I don't know what the goal is. Because I've seen some discourse also since it came out that the charge related to animals was not supposed to be there. I've also seen people being like, well, she still like was abusive towards her mom, towards Amberlynn's grandma. And yeah, like, obviously that's bad, but also in the context of what we know about Mama Lynn and Amberlynn's life is that Amberlynn has made a connection with her mom, has revisited her relationship with her mom, and both of them have now some kind of relationship with Amberlynn's grandma because Amberlynn is constantly referencing going there. So Amberlynn and her grandma are two of the people who probably were most directly impacted by Mama Lynn's behavior. And I think if they want to go and have a connection with her, rebuild a relationship with her, that's up to them. And this is 15, 20 years ago, you know? From what we can tell, from what we know, like, it seems like Mama Lynn has worked really hard to rebuild her life and make changes, which I think is what most people would ask of somebody in that situation. So again, you don't have to forgive her. I don't know if it's anybody on the internet's place to forgive her anyways, but, like, you don't have to forgive her. You don't have to think she's a great person. But I also don't know, like, what folks want from Mama Lynn. And as somebody who just wants to be supportive of folks who are trying to rehabilitate their life after a life of addiction and substance abuse, like, for me, I don't really care. And having one less charge doesn't really change my opinion on the situation, if that makes sense. I guess the other thing I just want to emphasize is to always, I think, make sure you are consuming media and things you see online critically. And this isn't just about this, and this isn't to put anybody down who believed it or anything like that, because, you know, like, people were going off of the information that they had. But I think there was a little bit of a leniency to lean into the bias that we might have towards Amberlynn to just, you know, believe the worst. And that's why I try my best to not go into things with that. And it's easier said than done, for sure. And so, I don't know, I think that this is just, like, maybe a good reminder that, you know, several things can be true. We might not have all the information. That's purposely why I included the clip of Jordy in my last video where he said, we don't know the whole story. It's very clear we didn't know the whole story. And so I think just keeping those things in mind and going based off of what we have and what is there. And yeah. Does that make sense? Again, just want to reiterate, nobody has to think that Mama Lynn is a great person. Nobody has to think that Amberlynn is a great person. Not what I'm saying at all. Because also, you know, we'll probably get into it with this reaction. Like, also, Amberlynn 100% could have handled all of this incredibly different than how she did. And I think that there is some fair criticism of her there. I really also do stand by that, like, the only reason she was addressing this is because she felt like she could get some kind of gotcha moment on reaction channels. She certainly, in other situations, has leaned towards privacy for this new girlfriend, for wifey, for other people in her life. And so why she felt the need to dredge all this up with her mom, like, I don't think it was maybe the best move. I also still stand by, like, it's probably a lose-lose for her either way, you know, because people were going to keep talking about it regardless of if she addressed it or not, and a lot of people were probably going to think that she was purposely avoiding it or hiding it or trying to cover something up. So, you know, probably a little bit of lose-lose. I don't think she handled it great, but that's all I got to say. Should I stop rambling now? I should probably. I'm sure somebody in the comments is like, Zach, get to the point. Well, just for you, we're gonna get to the point, okay? Alright, the title of today's video that we are reacting to is called I'm Having a Hard Time. ... 4 dots. 4 dots. Not a little more than an ellipses. I'm also drinking some coffee. Gonna have my morning coffee. I got this. I found this, this Hello, It's Ready Ray Dunn mug at a thrift store. I think I maybe paid $1 for it. So, like, I'm not a Ray Dunn collector. I kind of think Ray Dunn is a little cringe. But when I saw this one that said hello, I had to get it. I had to get it. Because it's like every morning I get to start my day and it's like, hello, I'm ready. All right. Let's get to, shall we?
Hey guys, so
hi
to a new video. So I figured since I have been gone for a little bit of time that I would come back with a Q&A just to kind of like check in.
That's so funny that she's like, well, I was gone for a week. I'm sure you have so many questions. I mean, I think people do have a lot of questions about Mama Lynn, but I love that that's her rationale. It's like, I didn't post for a week, so I'm sure people have lots of questions. So let me just do a Q&A to get back into it. Stunning, iconic, amazing.
I didn't want to just like throw up a vlog and be like, hi guys, and act like I didn't disappear, because I did. So let's do the Q&A.
It's also funny to me that this is the way of her acting like she didn't disappear, when like there's so many other avenues that she could have just said like, hey, I'm taking a break. Hey, I'll be back in a week or whatever. Like, you just went radio silent on your YouTube when you could have posted a community tab post. You could have posted on your Instagram any kind of update outside of just posting these Q&As that you never answered on your Instagram. There are lots of avenues of ways that you could have given an update. You could have even posted like a 3-minute YouTube video letting people know you'd be back or something. That's what I don't understand in general. Like she doesn't have any schedule currently that she says that she's adhering to, but I just don't ever understand like why she's not more communicative about what she's up to or when she'll post again or things like that. Like, this is her job, you know? Like, that's why, like, I sometimes have to cancel things. I sometimes have to not post videos. And I generally try on my social media to, like, let people know what's up, what's happening, whether in a video, whether it's a community tab post, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it might be. You know, it's just interesting to me. Interesting way to approach the work you do that you are so passionate about.
There's 15 questions, and I had you guys ask me these questions from Instagram, so let's get into it.
Let's
go. The first question is, why haven't you been uploading? I got a lot of like, where are you? We miss you. Why haven't you been filming and uploading? And it's because of everything that happened with my mom. I got extremely triggered, and it was hard. It was hard for my mom, it was hard for me, and it kind of just like made me kind of just go into a shell. And it wasn't even just with YouTube, it's been just in general. And I've just been having kind of like a hard time. And that's just me being honest. The next question is, how have you been?
I mean, yeah, again, I think that is fine. That is 100% fine. I think it's okay if you're able to, and I know a lot of people, I've said this before and I just want to reiterate it in case it gets missed because you didn't see one of the other times I've said it before. I think a lot of people find it hard to relate to Amberlynn when she takes time away, because to people who work more traditional jobs, whether it's like a 9-to-5 office job or like in retail or the food service industry, a lot of people who work in jobs like that don't have the luxury of getting mental health days or taking time off because they're mentally not doing well, which I think is a larger issue with like work culture, capitalism, etc., right? Like, I think everybody should be able to take mental health days if they can, you know? But I think a lot of people can't relate to that. So when Amberlynn wants to talk about, like, how seriously she takes her job and stuff like that, and then just goes radio silent, and this maybe speaks to what I was just talking about a little bit more, but when she just goes radio silent and doesn't tell anybody, people are like, girl, this is your job. You know? But I mean, I do think if you can afford to take time off because of your mental health, like, you should. Absolutely. I'm somebody who did that. When I had a full-time job, I would just use them as sick days because I'm not somebody who gets, like, physically sick a lot. So I would just, like, take my sick time that I had as a part of, like, a benefit of my job. Or in my last job, I had a really supportive supervisor who encouraged me to take mental health days. But I also do it here on YouTube as well. So, like, I don't blame her for doing that. I think a lot of people probably just won't find it super relatable, you know?
Feeling mentally, I feel like that was a good question to have on here. I haven't been doing that great. I have been feeling extremely low.
Let's go to that therapist, baby.
And it's been kind of like dark. So I had to take a step back.
Sure.
And I told myself that I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to kind of like fake it till you make it. And I'm going to just try my hardest to...
How about we fake it till we make it into a therapist's office and sit down on their couch? like I know that therapy is accessible for everybody. Blah 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 blah. This is some of those. I saw a TikTok recently that was like about reading comprehension. And this girlie talks about how, like, an important part of, like, reading comprehension is, like, knowing who the audience is. Like, who is this message being directed towards? And so maybe start, like, taking some of that into what I'm talking about here. And maybe that's also just a part of, like, critical consumption of media, right? I understand it's not for everybody, and I don't want to have to make that clarification every time I talk about Amberlynn needing to go to therapy. But Amberlynn is a woman with means for going to therapy. She has gone to therapy before, and she has, in recent history, talked about needing to go. So I hope that that's an update we're going to get from her in this video, is that she made an appointment with a therapist who specializes in folks with BPD.
Be an adult, film. I had cameos that I did, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Those made me very, very happy. So thank you guys so much for requesting cameos. Like, it means the world to me, truly.
Thank y'all for requesting cameos from me. And my last video I mentioned, or one of my most recent videos, I mentioned how nobody asked me questions because she was talking about, like, oh, you can just ask me questions if you want. I got so many people just asking me the most fun and silly questions, so I really appreciate that. I still have a number of cameos to get to, so I'm working through it. Y'all really said we're gonna blow up Zach's cameo, so I'm working on it. But thank y'all so much for requesting them from me. I have a lot of fun filming them too.
And now I want to go back to, like, doing things that I love, because I have lost all interest in pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. I have just hit a very low point, and I'm trying to just pick myself back up. Next question is,
let's keep
what's
going.
What's the update on you going back on Ozempic? So I definitely do want to go back on something like that. So there is semaglutide, which I'm...
Wait, what do you mean, what's the update? I know a lot of people are always like, she's asking herself these questions, but if you're a fan of Amberlynn, you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm a fan, and by that I mean I watch every video. She has said that, like, she can't get on it again, or she hasn't actually approached it. So, like, I don't know, she never talked about it like it was a thing that was gonna happen. So I guess I'm a little confused why this question is worded in a way that, like, it makes it sound like she's been talking about trying to go back on it, because maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe my remembrance isn't great, but she hadn't been talking about going. She said she would if she could. I don't even know if she has, like, an actual, like, doctor in Oklahoma. Like, I would guess that would be an important part of that process.
Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. What you can get at med spas, which someone actually contacted me on Instagram and told me about it. Actually, one that's kind of near my city. I am interested in it. It's going to be cheaper than Ozempic. So I am going to call the med spa and I'm going to set up a consultation. So
obsessed with her, obsessed with her taking recommendations via Instagram DMs to go to a med spa to get this Ozempic alternative. That is wild to me. Go see a fucking doctor. Like, what the hell? What the hell? That is wild.
So that is something that's going to be in the works. Next question is, do you think you'll stay in Oklahoma for the foreseeable future? I think for now, I definitely want to stay here.
Work diva.
I love everything about Oklahoma besides the weather. There has been a lot of tornadoes lately. I hope everyone is okay. It's definitely scary.
Yeah,
I have a lot of anxiety when it comes to tornadoes. You guys know that.
Yeah, girly pop. I mean, Oklahoma is very famous for tornadoes. Yeah. I mean, I'm not laughing about that. I think what's funny in my head is like that if you have like an insane fear of tornadoes that you would move to Oklahoma to begin with. I mean, I know that's not why she moved to Oklahoma. She moved there to be closer to her mom, obviously, but just fascinating to me.
Kind of ironic that I'm living in Tornado Alley.
Which also, speaking of tornadoes, are y'all gonna go see that Twisters movie? That I think it's supposed to be like not a sequel necessarily, but like reminiscent of the Twister movie starring Helen Hunt that came out in like what, the 90s? I was like a child and I saw it. I remember seeing it. I'm gonna go see it. I will be seated.
Literally the only thing I hate about it, I don't know how I'm gonna do this summer because that's when it gets real bad.
Well, let's see.
So I am kind of dreading that. But as for everything else, like I love living here.
Work.
I love being around family and I'm creating a life here and I love that.
Good.
Next question is, do you think reaction channels should delete their videos where they said false statements about your mom? Because technically, that is defamation. That's a hard question. I don't really know because when I think of that...
What a very specific question to choose to answer. I will say nothing in my video was defamation because I was very clear, as I already stated earlier, that it was alleged, particularly because I was covering, you know, what Amberlynn herself said, which is that it wasn't true. So anyways, all that to say is I won't be deleting any of my videos. In fact, I've only ever taken one video off of my channel ever in the history of me having a channel, and it was about Trisha Paytas and Nikocado Avocado. So yeah, it'll be staying. It'll be staying.
Like I think of myself, like I have said some things in the past that weren't true, even though I thought they were at the time. It doesn't mean I'm going to go and delete them or anything like that. So it's like, do I want to hold the same standards for reaction channels? I mean, in the sense of like the reaction channels that like really truly were like, yeah, Amberlynn's mom did do this. Like, it is defamation. That is technically like the term for it. Do I think they should delete the video?
I love when Lawyer Lynn makes an appearance. I love when Lawyer Lynn makes an appearance because even then, like, I'm not even sure, like, let's go with, like, Jordy, since that was the original video, live stream, etc., that triggered her. Like, even Jordy was just reading mostly, for the most part, from a post that he saw that listed all of the charges that mamalynn allegedly had, right? So like, even then, he was just reading from a list of charges. I mean, he did, like, go on to talk about, like, it a little bit more past that, but I think it might be really hard to prove defamation in that particular case. Like I said, I don't spend a lot of time watching other reaction channels, so I don't know, maybe she's not talking specifically about Jordy. I think like I saw Alex made an update video. I referenced that at the beginning of this video. So I'm curious what even you know, she would be able to do in terms of the law. I'd be really curious. I also don't think she would ever actually pursue something legally, mostly because I think that would take effort that Amberlynn isn't gonna put in. You know, she can barely put in effort when it comes to her content on her YouTube channel. Like, I don't foresee a world where she pursues anything legally with reaction channels.
I guess maybe morally it makes sense to do that, especially because they were so wrong. Like, if you guys didn't know, like, this whole thing about my mom has just been really hard. Because we knew it wasn't true about my mom doing something to a service animal. And I guess supposedly there was a reaction channel who ended up calling the court place, and it turns out that it was a technical error, a keystroke error, and it's like, me and my mom knew that she would never, ever in a million years do something like that. She has made a lot of mistakes, like you guys have seen her record. It's just like, how is she supposed to move on from something that she did over a decade ago? Like, she has literally made amends and has taken accountability and has been sober for 9 years. Like, it's not like she made, you know, bad mistakes and then didn't make amends and didn't take accountability and didn't change who she is. Like, I have gotten so many messages from people where they were like, the only type of person who can't forgive your mom is someone who has never either A, suffered with drug addiction or have known someone who has suffered with drug addiction. And I think that makes sense, because if you don't understand something or you've never been through something, then I can see why you'd be like, whoa, you know, that's not forgivable. And I understand that to an extent. But truly, I feel like what matters is that I forgive her. Her mom forgives her. Her family forgives her. And she forgives herself. And that's exactly what has happened. And I think...
Yeah, I mean, as you all know, I already stated all of that. Like, I agree with all of those things. Honestly, truly, I'm on board. I think, like, the continued thing that is interesting is that, you know, even this response, like, I think it would have been very chill to come on here and talk about all of the things that she just said, right? Like, all of the things about, like, I think it might even be interesting to hear about, like, how she came to the process for, like, forgiving her mom for the things that she did and things like that. Because, again, if there's anybody who, like, directly faced the negativity and the negative outcomes of her mom being an addiction, it was Amberlynn. It was Amberlynn's grandma. And so, like, I think 100% if she wants to talk about her story, about, like, how she came to terms with, like, forgiving her mom and the reason she went back to having a relationship with her mom, that's 100% her story to tell. And, like, I think a lot of people might find that interesting, might find that helpful, etc. I think what's interesting, though, is that she's saying all of this in response to reaction channels again, which I think comes back to really my only critique of her last video, which is just that, like, this really feels like the only reason she's talking about it is a gotcha on reaction channels, which is, I guess, fine. If she wants to have a gotcha moment with them, great, have at it, girly pop. But I think it's also the problem with having her little gotcha moment is that as a result, it's put herself in a place of, like, a bad mental health situation. It sounds like it's put her mom in a not great place, and I just don't know why she would want to do that in that way. You know? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe all of this, maybe my response to her would have been way more forgiving if she didn't play into that, you know? It's hard to, I think, for a lot of people to empathize in the way that I have been empathizing with her mom specifically, because Amberlynn comes on here and she's like, reaction channels are awful, blah, 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 blah. Like, you should have never done this, blah, 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 blah. Which, like, maybe there's legitimacy there. But, like, up until then, had nothing to say because she wanted to protect people's privacies. I don't know. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Either way, though, I remain very happy that mamalynn has made changes in her life. It's personally, having been affected by people in my life having issues with addiction and substance abuse and things like that, like, that's all I could want for somebody who's experienced that, and I'm glad that she's doing what she can to resume a normal life. it just so happens that her daughter is not well liked on the internet, you know?
That's why, like, all of this just, like, coming up and, like, strangers, like, you know, this YouTube channel is mine. It's not my mom. So, like, so many strangers just, like, attacking her for stuff that she did while under so many drugs. It's not even funny. It's been hard for her because it's, like, it's not something that, like, a normal person goes through, you know? They do bad things, and they either take accountability or they don't, but usually that's, like, within their family, within their small little group. But my mom is currently experiencing thousands of strangers just, like, bashing her for something that she did, which she wasn't even truly her true self, and it's just been, like, really hard for us, I'm not gonna lie. But do I think reaction channels should delete their video? It makes sense if you would, because the information is so not accurate. But, like, I also understand if they don't, because it is their job to an extent, so I can definitely see both sides of the situation. So next,
also, one other thing that I'm just thinking about is, like, also Amberlynn is to some extent acting like this information is brand new and only because reaction channels like Jordy's were advertising the charges and things like that in just recent history because mamalynn showed up in that video for 2 seconds or whatever. But I think as I pointed out in the last one, and I think even Jordy said himself in that live stream, is that, like, this has been information that's out there and partially because Amberlynn has so extensively on her channel talked about how her mom was in prison and how her mom did suffer from addiction and things like that. So, like, a lot of the reason that people know or even knew to go digging for that information is because Amberlynn put it out there. Not to say that people need to be, like, again, I didn't feel any need to go look into more about what was going on with Amberlynn's mom. Like, I've up until all of this recently happened, hadn't really seen any of her charges. I just heard about things. So it's not to say that I think people should be going out and looking for those things or anything, but, like, Amberlynn herself has talked about her mom having an addiction and things like that.
Question is, has your mom changed her opinion about going on your channel? So when I first moved here, my mom was very, like, I don't want to be on it yet. Like, she was just, like, super shy about it, and it was definitely something she was thinking of doing for sure. And then just as of recently, like, she randomly just, like, showed her face on video, and she's been feeling a little bit more like, oh, maybe we should have, like, a cooking series on your channel. It's something that we wanted to start.
That would be fun.
But the minute she showed her face, like, this whole thing happened, and it made her literally tell me, I don't think I want to be on your channel. And
well, that certainly is her prerogative. I know I just said it, but want to reiterate, you've talked about your mom in the past like that, just for the record. Like, it's all blowing up right now because you decided to respond to people talking about it, but you had that information out there already.
That, like, hurt me, but, like, I get it. I don't know if she's gonna change her mind. I really hope that she does, because, like, who she is as a person now, like, that's the person that matters. And she did not go through so much hard work to just constantly be held at the person that she was in her addiction. Because if that's the case, who would ever want to get sober if they're constantly being held to who they were then? Like, what's the point of getting sober and improving and
absolutely
taking accountability,
agree, on the same page,
completely changing who you are as a person, if that's the only thing that people are going to think about when they think of you? I just don't think it's fair. The next question is, how does your mom feel about you talking about her past on your channel? So that's something that, like, I've always been super worried about. So even when I first started my YouTube channel, I asked both my parents, like, how do you feel about me sharing, you know, things about foster care or things that, you know, you guys have done that has affected me? And something they've both always have said, which I have always found so, like, I just feel very thankful for it, is, like, it's your story too, Amberlynn. Like, we put you through these things, and our actions have impacted you. So it's not just our story, it's also yours. And I think that's why, like, I have been okay with sharing certain things about my parents or my past, or like, you know, my mom's record. Like, that's not something actually I would have ever brought up. I would have never like brought up my mom's record ever.
Okay, wait, but also for real, you have talked about your mom being in prison. Like, I just know that you have. I feel like if I just went and searched your channel, and maybe I'll do this in editing, but I feel like if I searched for your channel, like, I could find a screenshot, a thumbnail, a title where you talk about your mom being in prison.
With everything, like, my mother's in prison, my brother's homeless, I haven't heard from my dad in forever, like, still to this day is there for my mom. She writes my mom in prison, she visits my mom, she calls my mom. Why is my aunt able to accept a drug addiction but not a food addiction? Today's always been like a really hard day for me because if you guys don't know, my mom is in prison. It's like a whole other story upon itself. Remember the sushi I got earlier? I ain't feeling good from it. All my makeup is off because I wrote my mom a letter. And if you guys don't know, she's in prison. To me, it's like 3 different things into one. My brother went to prison, my mom went to prison, and I lost my aunt. My aunt didn't die, no. I just lost her emotionally and just relationship-wise.
Like, and this is what I get, and like what your parents probably didn't understand whenever you first started this channel, right? Like, which is reasonable. They probably had no idea whenever you first started making videos what the like capacity of what could happen. That's not the word I'm looking for. But they probably just didn't understand, like, really the reality of what your channel would turn into, you know? And so, like, maybe, yeah, at the beginning they did. And certainly, like, your channel has evolved so much over time. But, like, to say that you would never talk about your mom's record, when at a minimum, I know you've mentioned her being in prison and stuff like that. Like, you've talked about her in order to be in prison, you have to have some kind of record, you know? like, I think the more reasonable response here, regardless, would just be like, yeah, I think when I first started my channel, I was interested in telling my story. I had no idea what my channel would become. And so in hindsight, like, would I have shared everything the same way? Maybe not. But I did what I did, and it's there, you know? And my mom is a changed person. I don't know. It feels like she's kind of like trying to avoid like her own part that she played in this, you know? I don't know.
And the only reason why I did is because of this whole thing that's happened. 95% of the things that I have been through, I have never mentioned on my channel, but the 5% that I have mentioned, it very much does involve my parents, and I have gotten permission because they say that it's also my story. And I'm just appreciative of that. I don't disagree. Next question is, are you and Valentine still together? Yes, we are.
Who gives a shit?
Do you think your food addiction is exacerbated by social media? And I would say sometimes, but it's mainly because, like, I am also, like, kind of an emotional eater. And when things get rough, I turn to food.
Sure, go to therapy.
And that does happen. Next question. What's something weird you get anxiety about? But, like, I have a lot of, like, food anxieties, and I recently just opened up to my friends about that. It's, like, some of my really bad food anxieties is, like, if I have, like, a double cheeseburger, that's one of them, or, like, a lot of pasta at once, or pizza. Those are my top 3, and by food anxiety, I mean, like, while I'm eating it, like, for some reason my brain is telling me you might have a heart attack while eating this. And I know that's, like, not true, and that's more than likely not going to happen while I'm eating it. But, like, I do get those, like, negative thoughts. Those are my top 3 ones. Sometimes I don't get that at all.
Okay.
But if I am getting that, I usually won't finish my meal.
Okay, I was going to say, like, okay, then just stop eating the meal.
I'll purposely only eat, like, half of it.
That's probably okay.
Because in my brain, that, like, makes me feel like, oh, now you have less of a chance of having that heart attack. I know that's, like, the weirdest thing ever, Or for me, it feels pretty weird. So that's why that is my answer for this question.
Okay.
Next question.
I don't have anything else to add to that. I think again, like, therapy, you know? Like, if you have that much, like, mental activity going on in regards to, like, the food you're eating, I think, like, honestly, truly, talk to a therapist. Like, I think that would probably be really helpful for you to talk to them about that. Like, why is that the thought process you're having? Like, I'm not saying, like, she's a bad person for having that thought process, but I do think that that's something, like, to me, hearing her say that, it's like, oh, that is, like, some disordered thinking around food. Maybe you should talk to somebody about it. I don't know. Just the thought.
How does Valentine feel about you posting thirst traps on TikTok?
First of all, we've talked about these damn thirst traps on TikTok. Ain't nothing about them thirsty. Ain't nothing. And that's me not being like, listen, I don't have to be attracted to women to be able to spot a thirst trap from a woman. And thirst traps for women, men, and all my non-binary friends usually involve some kind of level of, like, an attempt to be sexy, some level of, like, not having clothing. And maybe, again, I'll say this again, maybe this is just, like, my gay-ass brain being so fucked up from just, like, gay men on social media, but usually involves, like, showing some skin, you know? She usually is barely showing a fucking wrist in those TikToks. I do not understand why you all think they're thirst traps. Nothing about them is quenching my thirst. I'm still very parched. Okay, besties? Also, though, not to say that if you're in a relationship that you can't post a cute photo of yourself, or, like, you know, a photo of yourself, like, showing some skin. Because I think, you know, every relationship probably has different boundaries on that. My larger part is just that I don't think the thirst traps. Y'all are silly.
Oh, I have asked for this because I do get this question a lot. People are always like, why do you post, you know, TikToks like this if you're in a relationship? So then it got me thinking, and I was like, is it weird that I post TikToks like this? Like, so then I was like, okay, I'm going to ask Valentine, like, what does she think of it?
So wait, do you think that they're thirst traps? Is that what you think they are? Like, do you, Amberlynn Reed, think they're thirst traps? I would be curious what your perspective... It seems like, yes, she does.
Honestly, she said she doesn't mind, and that she kind of likes it because she gets to also see them, and she thinks I look really good in my TikTok, so it's not something that, like, bothers her. She's not really insecure, and she's super confident in, like, the way that I feel for her and the way that she feels for me. So
she also, as far as we know, has never met you, girly pop. Like, as far as we know, hard to be jealous when, like, you haven't even been with each other in person, as far as we know.
I don't think there's
maybe I'm wrong.
But if she was bothered with it, obviously I wouldn't do it anymore. Next question is, does Valentine want to appear in your YouTube videos? I'm
sick of these questions about Valentine.
We have talked about, and she said that she is willing to be in my videos, but I think that we're both waiting until we're both ready, because I think that's, like, a really big step. I'm not gonna lie, because I haven't had my partner in videos in a really long time. So it's kind of gonna be, like, really new territory for me, so I want to just, like, wait. Well,
you probably have to wait until at least she's in the same state as you. That might be a start to it, you know? You might have to physically be in the same location for that to happen, so I understand why you're waiting.
Especially, like, I just am not in the greatest headspace right now, as you guys can tell, so I just want it to be, like, a really good time when we finally, like, take that next step, whether it's, like, her real name or whatever it may be. Question 13, how do you feel?
Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like she's acted like Valentine is there in Oklahoma with her. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just, like, don't... that was a horrible... Maybe I'm wrong. Also, I really only have this today because it's from the wedding I went to. They were passing this out. It was an outdoor wedding. They passed these out, and so now I have it. I'm not trying to live my Petermont fantasy, but I did show it yesterday on stream, and so it's still sitting on my desk, and so I picked it up. I need to put it down. Stop fidgeting.
Well, that no reaction channel has come out.
Oh, God. Wait, let's go back. What about reaction channels?
Question 13, how do you feel that no reaction channel has come out and apologized to your mom after bashing her for something that she didn't even do? So
that's interesting because I didn't bash her. I'm curious about that. And also, this is being posted. This is being posted after Alex posted his on April 25th, which was the day that I left for my trip for this wedding. So Alex, at the very least, had come out and corrected himself. So, like, this just doesn't... I don't know that he necessarily apologized for anything. He did say that, like, he wanted to correct things and do it very quickly, or as quick as he could. So that's an interesting way to approach it. I'm also just curious, like, did this person watch every single reaction channel? I mean, I didn't, so I don't know. Maybe other channels did come out and apologize. And then also, it doesn't take into account, like, the way that it's being presented is that every single reaction channel, and that's why I responded the way I did almost immediately, but it's presenting it like every single reaction channel that covers Amberlynn Reid covered it from a place of, like, bashing mamalynn, which, like, if y'all watched my video, I did not. So, again, this is why I'm like, Amberlynn is really viewing this as, like, a gotcha moment. She wants to try to make all reaction channels look bad, and at the very least, I can speak for myself, I was, I think, approaching it from a very neutral, level-headed place where I want people to support folks who have had substance abuse in their lives. So, I'm just saying, this is my frustration, is that she just wants the opportunity to paint all reaction channels as being bad.
So, I think there was one reaction channel who did apologize, and that was Alex thezacharymike.
Oh, okay, so there you go.
I do actually greatly appreciate that, because he did it. It makes me emotional, sorry. It makes me emotional because he did it, like, the day he found out that it wasn't true.
Oh, I don't have any more coffee.
There are so many other reaction channels that, like, literally bashed my mom. That's how it felt. That's how it felt to us, because it's hard. It's heavy. There are other reaction channels who, like, spoke on it, like, the day of, like, when they thought it was true. And then they just haven't said anything since. They haven't said anything since finding out that it's not true. And it puts a bad taste in my mouth. And I've always had, like, a love-hate relationship for Alex thezacharymike, but, like...
I'm just curious, in general, if you're in this, like, bad mental health space, like, honestly, truly, how does going and watching all of these reaction channels talking about your mom in a negative way help you out? Like, this is just, like, an honest question for Amberlynn when it comes to, like, actually setting some boundaries to help your mental health. Like, truly. And that's not to say that, like, I think about myself, I guess. Like, I have a pretty strict boundary that I purposely do not seek out any kind of content about me, whether it's good or bad, because I know that if it's bad, it could potentially, not always, but it could potentially put me in a bad mental health space, and so I just don't look at it. Like, people feel free to have whatever opinions you want of me, but I genuinely try to avoid it. But even, I guess, like, even whenever I am, like, in the comments and, like, my comment section, there's people that are, like, rubbing me the wrong way, I know at a certain point, like, if I'm starting to feel some kind of way, to just leave the comment section and not go back to it, you know? Because I know if I'm in that space, then I'm not going to read any of those comments from a good place, and it's not going to be productive to me or the people who are leaving comments for me. And so I guess I'm just concerned, at what point, Amberlynn, do you just not tell yourself, like, this is not helpful for me to be engaging with reaction channel content? You know, like, why do you know that there haven't been people who have followed up to apologize for the way that they talked about the situation, or to correct themselves, or this, that, or the other? Like, why do you know that? Because if it were me, I wouldn't have addressed some reaction channel to begin with like that. But, like, if it were me, I would have clocked out. I would have been like, I'm in a bad mental health space and it is not helping. And so that's just my recommendation moving forward. I know sometimes that's easier said than done, especially You know, if you're in like a very negative space, you might just be going down the rabbit hole and you get sucked in. I get it. But that's just a genuine recommendation to Amberlynn or any kind of content creator, like, to set up some boundaries around that. Like, that's not helpful. That's not helpful.
There have been instances, this is not the first one, where he has, like, done the right thing. And I just appreciate him for that, like, truly. Like, I even told my mom that he apologized, and because my mom knows a little bit about reaction channels, none by name or anything weird like that. She just knows that they exist. And she's also appreciative, and she's also strangely and ironically and weirdly enough appreciative of the person who called the courtroom. And because I feel like the call was made to prove that I was lying, when in fact I wasn't. I was vindicated. My mom was vindicated. But we are both actually, strangely enough, grateful that that call was made. And, you know, mistakes do happen, even in the courtroom. And that's just proof that things like that do happen. It is odd that someone would call, but we are grateful that it did
I can
happen.
feel that.
And I think, you know, my mom had to, like, put me in a different headspace for a minute because this was just getting hard and heavy. And she was like, you know what, Amberlynn, that person could have not revealed about the error. And I was like, that's true. You know, the person could have called and found out about the error and then just, like, kept quiet.
Well, I think if I understand correctly, she was doing it in, like, a live stream. So I don't think she really could cover it up. I think, from my understanding, she was, like, live on YouTube calling this place to get this information. So I think that probably would have been hard to cover up.
The fact that they, you know, I haven't seen that. I don't know if it's like a video. I heard that it was like a YouTube channel. I don't even know who it was. I don't know their name or anything like that.
See, this is why I'm really confused. I'm really confused about all of this. Okay, so here's why I don't believe there's too many holes and inconsistencies about what she does or doesn't watch when it comes to reaction channels. And this is why I'm like, is she just assuming that everybody who made a video about her mom was bashing her? And that's why she's just saying, like, oh, a lot of these people haven't said anything since. I didn't say anything since then. One, because I was on vacation, and two, because I never bashed her mom about it. I said that it was alleged that Amberlynn was claiming that it didn't happen. So there's that. But I guess back to my point about, like, why I know that she's either not watching or intentionally not being entirely honest about what she has watched and things like that, is that I did watch Alex's video, and he by name mentions Sam Telfar, whatever her name is, however you say her last name, he by name mentions her. So why she's acting like she doesn't know the name of the channel when she's also claiming that she appreciates so much that Alex apologized about the mistake. Did you watch the video? Did you watch it? Because why are you acting like you don't know who Sam is? What is going on? This is my whole problem with her talking about reaction channels. It's always like, I don't watch them, I do watch them. Here's who I do watch. I'm gonna present little parts of what I watched in a reaction channel video without giving the full context. I'm gonna act like I don't know some of them, even though I clearly do know some of them. But in Alex's video, I watched it because I wanted to know what the tea was since I was busy on vacation. I watched his video, and he fully said that he found out about this through Sam's channel. It was like one of the very first things he said in like the first 1 to 2 minutes. It's only a 6.5 minute long video.
What had happened in my previous video, we talked about ALR's newest video where she discusses her mom's charges going back, and she says that there is no service dog situation. I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you watched that video. But I had seen some rumblings on Twitter and people directed me to Sam Telfer's live stream. You might know her. She's a part of this community. Well, she actually contacted the courts in Oklahoma and was able to receive a copy of the incident that happened at that time, the court records, and was able to ask the clerk about the specific charge 649.3. And when she did talk to the clerk, it was assumed that that was a typo, or that should have not been there. 649.3, which is the service animal charge, should not have been on her online records.
She's so infuriating.
So I'm assuming the person made a video and said, it's actually just an error.
You don't have to assume, because you watched Alex's video and he talked exactly about what she did.
They could have not done that. So the fact that they did, we are appreciative. So thank you. Next question is there a reason why people think that your girlfriend is fake? So the only thing that I have seen, because I do get messages, is that people think that she's fake because of the timeline, because two of my exes are also in like relationships or whatever. And it makes sense. I understand, because I waited like over 2 months to reveal that I even had a girlfriend. Like, that's the only thing I can think of, because like I have never.
I think it's also just because like at this point there's like a 50-50 chance you're lying about shit. Like, I believe that Valentine is real, just because, to be quite honest with you, it really reflects all of her other relationships I've ever seen her be a part of. But like, girly pop, let's not act like half the shit that doesn't come out of your mouth isn't a lie these days, or all days, or as long as we've been watching you.
Really been single for that long, so it shouldn't even be surprising that I have a girlfriend at this point. So the last question is, do you have a problem with jealousy? So I'm not really a jealous person. I don't get jealous of other people's money or other people's looks or other people's this or that. What I do get jealous about, though, is like stuff in relationships. Like when I'm in a relationship, like I am a jealous girlfriend.
Oh, I believe it.
I don't know if that's like part of like
I believe
an insecurity of mine, or if that's like BPD. I don't know what it is, but I do get kind of jealous. Pretty jealous.
That's not hard to believe at all.
I'm working really hard on that, and I feel like I have gotten a lot better.
And what ways are you working really hard on that? What does that really hard work look like?
The only thing I can do is improve and try not to like show my jealousy too much, if you know what I'm saying. But, Valentine actually doesn't mind a little jealousy, so I guess that's a good thing. So that is the end of this video. I know it was
Wait, what? Valentine doesn't mind a little bit of jealousy? What? What kind of fucked up relationship is that? I don't want a relationship that is built on a little bit of jealousy, because to me that says that there's a lack of trust in our relationship. That is wild. What a weird thing to say.
Heavy for me, so it might be heavy for y'all. I don't really know, but I'm going to try posting some more. So
thank
I hope
God.
you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
All right, bye. See ya. Well, interesting. The part about that video that was the most frustrating is just literally anytime she's talking about reaction channels. Because again, my whole thing with any of this is that it all just feels like a gotcha moment with the reaction channels. And not to say that, I think it's clear at this point that reaction channels are like a large part of her life, for better or worse. And I'm just so irritated as a concept that she's acting like she does and doesn't know what's going on with the reaction channels. Either you watch them or you don't. Either you do know everything or you don't. And like to be like praising Alex, which like I appreciate that Alex also like corrected himself. I think that's the right thing to do. I think it's a good thing to do. I respect that about him as a creator. So I'm not like upset that she's like praising him for it. What I'm upset about is that she's acted like she doesn't know what Sam did and what role Sam played in it and who Sam was and this, that, the other. That's the part that's irritating about it all to me. Like, he fully talked about that in his video. I don't know. I've already said all this. This video is long enough as it is. So let me just let y'all go so I can edit this and get it posted for you all to watch. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. Make sure to leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I love you all so, so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!